Out of nowhere, Sony announced a new Ratchet & Clank game just a few months ago. It released on PS3 the week of the PS4 launch for $30. It feels like something's not adding up there, but how'd it turn out anyway? Here's my takeaway on Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus. Insomniac opened a studio here in North Carolina a few years ago, and I thought it was pretty cool to get a developer like that in my home state. But since then, I haven't been very impressed with the way the North Carolina studios started running Ratchet & Clank into the ground. But I have to admit, it was hard to not be excited about the promise of real Ratchet & Clank gameplay after seeing Into the Nexus's announcement trailer. And it's not that I doubted that trailer, but yes, this is definitely Ratchet & Clank. This is back to the stuff that made the PS2 games and the earlier PS3 games such a winning formula. Not everything is just like it used to be. Insomniac stopped targeting 60 frames a second a few years ago, and Into the Nexus unfortunately targets 30 frames. It might ruin the game for some frame rate junkies, but I still had a lot of fun, even if it didn't feel exactly like the old days.
Jetpack upgrade. That's right. It's oddly specific, guys. It's just what you need.
You know, not enough games have jetpacks. This game has a jetpack. Like a free-flying jetpack. I think that's pretty cool.
Certainly nothing illegal, just a tiny, insignificant, trans-dimensional portal device.
I'm normally not much of a fan of parts of a game that play completely differently from the core gameplay, but these Clank segments are actually really fun. You change the direction of the gravity with the right stick, and have to lure these nether creatures back to the entrance.
You are now entering a no-fly zone.
Unfortunately, some of these fun parts are underused. There's only a few places in the game with fueling stations, so you can't use the jetpack just anywhere. And there's only like 4 or 5 Clank segments in the whole game. I wish there was more you could do with both of these features, but they still have an overall positive impact on the game.
And I'd be happy to part with it for, say, 30 Gargathon horns.
So there's this one planet, and it's kind of wide open. Most of the stuff you can do there is optional, but investigating all the nooks and crannies kind of awoke the N64 fanatic in me. And I sorta had a blast just flying around and collecting all this crap.
A heavy-duty shotgun that uses quantum rounds to vanquish foes in style.
Have I just played too many Ratchet & Clank games? Insomniac is known for having fun and versatile arsenals in their games. And Into the Nexus is no different, but I felt like the weapons weren't functionally all that different from things I'd seen before. But, I mean, yeah, it's still fun. And there's a pretty good upgrade system, too. So, you can beat it in probably about 6 hours. Maybe 8 if you do some side stuff. It's not long, but it's also only $30. I think it's a great idea to release some shorter games for lower prices, and Into the Nexus doesn't skimp on fun or polish, just on length. If the future of the series is high quality shorter games for lower prices, I'm pretty okay with that. If you're a fan of the series, I think you'll appreciate Into the Nexus. It's not 60 frames a second like the earlier games, but Insomniac North Carolina has finally proven to me that they do have what it takes to make something fun. It feels good to be optimistic about the future of Ratchet & Clank again. With an animated movie coming to theaters, I'm sure this isn't the last game we'll ever see. And I can't wait to see what Insomniac North Carolina can come up with for the PS4.